There aren't many punters in NFL history who became household names. In fact, you could probably count them on one hand. And honestly, the list might only have one name: Pat McAfee. A guy who could blast a 60-yard punt like it was nothing. A guy who could lay out returners with hits that looked more like a linebacker than a specialist. And a guy who celebrated punts like he had just won the Super Bowl. Pat McAfee made punting look cool. He made it worth tuning in for every Sunday. But at just 29 years old, fresh off a Pro Bowl season, he shocked the NFL world by walking away. Not because he couldn't punt anymore, but because he had something bigger in mind. Since then, McAfee has built a media empire, wrestled in the WWE, and become one of the biggest voices in sports. But that raises the real question: how good was Pat McAfee actually? Even as a kid, Pat McAfee looked like a natural. He wasn't just locked into football, he played varsity soccer, volleyball, and football. If there was a ball involved, McAfee was there. And he wasn't just participating, he was excelling. By his sophomore year of high school, he had already won a national punt, pass, and kick championship. Think about that. Before he even had a driver's license, he was already making a name for himself as one of the most talented kickers in the country. But Pat was never someone who followed the safe or traditional route. During his senior year, he borrowed $100 from his friend, took it to an underground poker game, and walked out with $1,400. What did he do with that money? He bought a one-way ticket to a national kicking event in Florida. No parents, no plan, just a kid with a dream and a ridiculously strong leg. At that competition, McAfee started drilling field goals one after another, pushing the limits of what the coaches and scouts had seen. Finally, he lined up for a monster, a 70-yard attempt. The ball had the distance, but it sailed just wide. Still, it was enough to turn heads. Standing on the sideline was West Virginia recruiting coordinator Tony Gibson. He walked right up to Pat, looked him in the eye, and offered him a scholarship on the spot. Just like that, McAfee was heading to Morgantown.